What's up everybody, this is Josh Robinson with Joystick Gamer and welcome back to the channel where today we're grabbing our ghosts and heading up to the galaxy in Destiny 2 Witch Queen. We finally get to meet the Witch Queen herself, Savathun, who is essentially Destiny's version of Thanos. Like me and many others, we are foaming at the mouth to see what Savathun has up her sleeve as we try to take her out in this newest expansion. Looking to build off the momentum of the Sony and Bungie acquisition announcement, Destiny 2 Witch Queen doesn't just keep the car rolling, it injects it with rocket fuel. Look, I know Destiny 2 Witch Queen is an expansion, but it deserves a full review because of the crazy anticipation for Witch Queen's arrival. The Witch Queen Savathun has been known to be the big villain for years now, and we've been experiencing her tricks and deception in the Beyond Light and Shadowkeep expansions, but we never really had a first-hand experience with her yet. But that wait is finally over, and Destiny Witch Queen is our ticket to get a front row seat to that show. Based on how Beyond Light added way more cutscenes and incorporated more backstory and lore into the quest dialogues, I was optimistic that they were going to continue to build on that momentum. Prior to Beyond Light, Destiny and Bungie got deservedly ripped for releasing two lackluster and borderline offensive expansions. Forsaken was the first expansion that could be completed in about an hour and did not have anything to really push the narrative of the Destiny story. Seeing that they heard everyone loud and clear and backed it up with the expansions that are better than its predecessor, I was confident that Witch Queen was going to hit the mark. After completing the story and exotic Witch Queen quests, Bungie didn't just hit the mark, they knocked it out of the park. In expansion campaigns past, the focus wasn't on cutscenes and visual storytelling, and you oftentimes were left wondering what the hell you were doing a mission for. The lack of context in early expansions made it troublesome to care about what was happening, and you add to the fact that the missions were just so easy that you could do them in your sleep as a drug-free solution to Ambien. Thankfully, Witch Queen takes all those ghosts of expansions past and flips it on its head. From the jump, you're thrown into cutscenes as Savathun arrives on Mars ready to wipe out mankind. The epic orchestra scores, Michael Bay-like explosions, and jaw-dropping action in these scenes had me wanting to reach for the popcorn while sitting on the edge of my seat. Witch Queen is hands down Destiny's most immersive campaign experience of any expansion or game they've done, and that includes the original Destiny. I won't get into too much more detail about what unfolds in the campaign story, but I'll leave it with the old motto: the juice was definitely worth the squeeze. While the story payoff is worth the $40 price tag alone, the other elephant in the room needed to be addressed. The level mechanics in expansions past required as much brainpower and skill as a cat chasing a laser pointer. Each level is a mindless point A to point B objective with little reason to care as to why we're going where we're going. Once again, Bungie righted their wrongs by grabbing the defibrillator, cranking it up to 100, and yelled, "Clear!" Each mission had different mechanics incorporated in them that would require team collaboration and good timing. Each level felt like a mini raid where your shooting skills and cognitive thinking were both challenged in order to successfully move on. The level of engagement that each level demanded was more refreshing than a McDonald's Sprite on a hot summer day. When you pair the cinematic epicness of the cutscenes and rewarding gameplay of the actual missions, you're left smiling like a kid at Disneyland. This time around, Witch Queen offers you the option of doing the campaign on normal or legendary difficulty. If you're up for the challenge of doing it on legendary, you are rewarded handsomely for your efforts in the form of high-level gear, upgrade modules, and an exotic item. I opted for the legendary route and felt that rewards did prove to be worth the extra labor. A little pro tip for those looking to do the missions on legendary: try and play the missions with one other friend instead of doing it solo or as a 3-stack. The enemy count and difficulty scales depending on how many people are in your fire team, so going solo is doable, but it can be easy to get suppressed at times. On the other end of the scale, running with 3 people will leave you having to focus fire each and every enemy because their health pools are so large. Running with 3 can be doable, but it requires full buy-in from the players, but the second one of you branches off to do your own thing, you will get wiped. That sweet spot duo stack makes ad clearing very manageable, and sticking together using the buddy system is a lot easier to keep track of. Regardless of how many players you have on your fire team, you will be challenged, but running as a duo feels the least daunting of those 3 options. The last aspect of the campaign that felt refreshing was the activities and things you do after completing the main story. The main campaign stories took about 6 hours to complete, which seems very low, but keep in mind that it's a live service game, so some of the expansion content has to be spread out over time. In past expansions, these additional missions and quests quests ended up being grindfest trying to farm a weapon or materials. In Witch Queen, the exotic and supplementary quests have much more lore in the form of cutscenes and in-game interactions instead of just reading a bunch of text. This further adds to the immersiveness of the game and also helps each mission bring more value and context to the big picture. The Parasite Exotic mission is one of my favorite Destiny missions because of the story that is told as you go about trying to create the weapon. It is moments like this that were missing in past Destiny expansions, so to see them improve tenfold on these aspects makes me want to go give them a hug. Well done, Bungie. The hype surrounding Savathun made it fitting to meet her on her home turf in Witch Queen's new planet location, Savathun's Throne World. Her world is this eclectic mix that ranges from swampy and grimy areas to jaw-dropping gothic cathedral structures that will leave you in your tracks. Like many of Destiny's worlds, this map is layered with secrets and places below the surface that further immerse you into Savathun's deceptively twisted ways. With every new place that you discover, you receive a few answers with even more questions that keep your curiosity peaked and looking for the next secret to uncover. I cannot emphasize enough how gorgeous and dark the castles felt inside and out. It truly helped elevate each mission and random exploration to this cinematic level of epicness that would put the hair up on the back of your neck. In Beyond Light, they introduced the Stasis subclass, but also brought with it a new ability system. Instead of having a three-pronged tree where certain skills were tied to each tree and you had to pick one and switch between them, Stasis brought about fragments and aspects. All of the abilities previously tucked behind one of these trees is now available for you to mix and match these aspects and fragments to your liking. It was a pleasant surprise because it also had depth that enabled you to uncover combos within these abilities and turn you into a god amongst guardians. This time around, they brought these same aspects and fragment principles into the Void subclass. On top of the aspect and fragment rework, they also did introduce new abilities and supers for each Guardian class that leaves it feeling like a new subclass entirely. Stasis provided slow and frozen buffs, and Void comes in with disruption and volatile buffs for their class. These additional disruption abilities become a major player in the game, especially at the higher difficulty levels. It seems that Bungie has made adds and mini-bosses stronger, or at least more resistant to elements, which in turn forces the players to use these disruption and volatile abilities accordingly. Witch Queen no doubt rewards you for using these new abilities, supers, and supplemental buffs in the Void subclass, so it's important to get familiar with all these abilities and combos that you can create with them. I wouldn't say it's required to play the Void subclass, but Bungie spent way too much time reworking Void for you to not feel rewarded using it. Of all the Guardian classes, I think the Hunters are the biggest winner of the Void rework purely due to the fact that their Tether super became an ability on cooldown. Adding this kind of utility plus new super abilities for the class is a no-brainer win for the Hunter class as a whole. The Witch Queen does come with some new shiny toys to help you take out Savathun and her army of Hive. At the forefront is the entirely new weapon class, Glaives. It's essentially a polearm weapon with a gun attached to it. It is the first melee weapon that you experience in first person instead of third person. I found it to be a fun twist on melee classes because you're granted a ranged ability within the gun, so it gives it a more utility for characters who aren't melee heavy tanks. It really does become very satisfying to wipe through an entire area of enemies like you're the Ninja Fruit King. There is also a noticeable bump in stasis weapons, which was a huge gripe from fans in the Beyond Light expansion for having only one stasis weapon while introducing the entire stasis class. Don't get it twisted. Bungie hasn't been perfect with their releases, but it's so reassuring knowing that they're listening to feedback and not repeating mistakes. This expansion also comes with the ability to unlock new SMG, grenade launcher, and LMG exotic weapons with very fun missions tied to getting them. This expansion also comes with the ability to unlock new SMG, grenade launcher, and LMG exotic missions with very fun missions tied to getting them. Similar to expansions in the past, it is beneficial to unlock these weapons since they will likely be extremely helpful for the upcoming new raid. The other big change that the Witch Queen brought to the weapons department is the weapon forging. Now you will have the ability to create and modify weapons within Destiny. How it works is that you get a weapon drop that has the blueprint tied to it. All you have to do is use that weapon a little bit to unlock its attunement. attunement. Once that is unlocked, you can build that gun in the weapon forge as you see fit. The kicker though is once you create it from the blueprint, you get rewarded the more you use the gun. Once you create the weapon, you can level the gun up to level 10 by simply just using it. Each level unlocks new gun perks that you can add and remove at the weapon forge. So instead of having to grind the same strike or mission over and over and over and over, praying that you get a god roll on a weapon, you can now just use the gun you love, level it up, and add those god roll abilities to the gun yourself. The fact that I can now grind out a gun how I want instead of playing the same mission 30 times and hope that I get the gun that I want is an absolute game changer. Not every gun is in the gun forge yet, but all the new weapons are, which is really all you need considering how strong they are right now. Destiny has always been about the grind, but sometimes the grind can be so mind-numbing that it hurts. So to see them enabling the player to grind how they want to grind is something that was desperately needed and quite overdue. I group armor and season pass together because at this point the armor in the game is purely cosmetic and the season pass helps you unlock some of these new armor ornaments. The reason why armor is mostly cosmetic changes at this point is because the game has been out for 5 years, so almost all players have built out armor stats that are so fine-tuned that nothing will cause you to even question changing that armor out. Thankfully, with the armor transmogging from Beyond Light, it puts an emphasis on how the armor looks and you don't really have to worry about messing with your stats. The armor for this season is absolutely sick and gives off medieval Tron vibes. The season pass has armor and ornament unlocks throughout the 100 level pass to further add to your monster killing swag. Destiny's season pass system continues to be one of the best season pass systems in the live service industry with the amount of tangible content that you get from each pass. This season pass doesn't disappoint with an exotic weapon, exotic engrams, and new multiplayer game modes. In a world full of season passes, this is one of the few that doesn't leave you with buyer's remorse. Halo. Overall, the armor sets they added continue to bolster their armor aesthetic library, and you'll never be short of options to mix up your look without messing with your stats. If you're someone who's taken a sabbatical from Destiny, I would strongly encourage to jump back into the game now. The campaign is an adrenaline injection into the franchise and nails the dismount on all the payoffs for Destiny veterans. If you're new to the game, you'll be blessed with experiencing this game at its peak and is a great place to start considering the light level got reset for everybody, so you won't be feeling left behind. As an expansion, it isn't going to be winning any game awards, but this expansion will win over the hearts of everyone who plays it. Bungie continues to build upon the momentum they generated from Beyond Light and injected the engine with nitrous fuel for Witch Queen. This game, in my opinion, is the go-to first-person shooter out right now, and I look forward to debating you in the comments about it. Thank you for watching this review of Destiny 2 Witch Queen. If you enjoyed the video, please show some love to the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. I'm Josh Robinson with Joystick Gamer. Thanks for watching and stay gaming out there.